What's your I don't know, I didn't think I'd get this far moment. I gave my resume to fancy private school, I'm a teacher, but new to the field, and I didn't expect a call back. But they called me today to ask my expected salary, and I said I don't know what the average is. Let me Google it. Your girl was not prepared. I was taught to say we can discuss that upon offer of employment if ever asked at an interview, and it saved me because I definitely had to Google it for the area a couple of times. I say I can be flexible, what do you have budgeted for the position? And it's always worked out well enough for me. Seems to throw them a bit, and you get a more honest answer. When I realized I've been in a stable relationship for 4 years and people start asking when we're getting engaged. I have a buddy who's incredibly socially awkward. His wife is a perfect match. They got married because someone asked them if they were getting married, and they said yes because they didn't know how to explain that they hadn't had that conversation yet. When he told me this story, I asked him when he was having kids and he told me to go fuck myself, so at least he's making a little progress. Feeling this right now. We've been together for years and are having fun the way we are, but everyone insists on asking, when are you getting married? When are you moving in together? Are they the one? Like chill, we're just happy we survived a year-long plague while barely seeing each other. Get back to us when we've had a few months to be back to normal. Or don't, we don't care, and our answer probably won't change. Like chill, we're just happy. The absolute most important part. There's no need to go further or force the relationship in a way it doesn't feel good to be in anymore. Oh god, I hate the question, do you think he's the one? Like girl, I have issues deciding what flavor muffin I want. Me at work. I feel like every issue that comes up has me unprepared. But I am always praised for my good work. So, I assume I have imposter syndrome and keep doing what I am doing. The ability to deal with any unprepared issue is more important than knowing how to deal with a fixed amount of issues. One of my old bosses told me something that helped me deal with my imposter syndrome. He said when I hired you, I wasn't looking for someone who knew all the answers, I was looking for someone who knew how to find the answers they didn't know. Really stuck with me. My Google foo is strong. I'm maybe 5 years off retiring. People keep asking me what I am going to do once I get there. This is pretty much my reply. Ada, thanks for all the advice. I've got a few ideas about post-retirement life and a few hobbies I want to pick back up. I'll be doing some volunteering as well. Some advice, don't actually leave your job until you figure out. You'll end up mostly sitting around and you get a feeling of having no purpose, and it's difficult to get out of that funk, especially since you don't have much to do, so there's no incentive motivation. This is pretty common for people retiring, so don't think, won't happen to me. Find a hobby, find some place to volunteer, etc. You need some sort of consistent activity from day to day. Also make sure you get a complete health exam and use those benefits before leaving your job. Obvious things like full blood work, etc. Your doctor will have a list, but I'd also suggest things like an ultrasound and CAT scan of your abdominal. Not for fishing for something wrong, but to use as a baseline for if you have issues later. It'll help figure out what's wrong quicker so you can start treatment sooner. And pro tip, get a CD and report printout of the exam. It'll be much easier getting the reports to specialists than trying to get them sent by your doctor or the facility and needing to deal with the consent forms and back and forth when you don't feel well. When I was a child, we had a family reunion in a park with a lake and a small beach. Off the side of the lake, far away from where the lifeguards were, was a deck about 10 feet above the water and a structure with rings hanging for you to swing on, grab the next, etc. I felt the need to try it. After I got to the last ring, I realized I was just as far from shore as I was to a floating platform near the beach. My arms were tired from making it to the end. No way could I manage swinging back to the deck, so I dropped into the water and tried swimming to the platform. That's when I realized I fucked up. I knew how to swim, but I was not prepared for the exhaustion in my arms. After what felt like an eternity, I managed to make it to the platform, but had no energy to actually climb the tiny rope ladder to make it on top of the platform to rest. So I just grabbed it and rested while in the water for 15 minutes. Before feeling confident I could make close enough to the beach where my feet could touch the bottom. I literally thought I was going to drown at one point. I float on my back when I get tired. Take deep breaths and flutter kick to wherever I want to go. This is so important to teach swimmers, it saved me a few times. I remember once climbing some rocks while camping with some buddies. We had been drinking one afternoon, and I wandered off and started climbing this sort of cliff face and was just in my own little world and got probably a 100 to 150 feet up or so before I suddenly sort of snapped out of my zone and looked around, and I was precarious as fuck, and it was starting to be dusk, and I had no real idea how I was going to get down. I was not, nor am I now, any sort of mountain climber with any skills. This was a very dry region, pretty much high plains desert, and was a craggy sort of cliff face with a lot of loose rocks and shit. I'm also very scared of heights and get sweaty palms and such. I did eventually make it down, but there were a few times I thought I was just stuck there or going to fall to my death or injury. Man just turned on autopilot mode. I did something very similar at Superstition Mountain in Arizona. I was maybe 20 and decided trails were dumb. After a few false peaks, I found myself climbing up cliffs with no gear and no experience. I truly didn't think I would live. I eventually found my way down the back of the mountain and found my way out. This is a separate miracle that I didn't get lost. Many people get lost and die in the superstitions. I paid off my mortgage a couple months ago. It had been my focus for the last few years to just pump all my money into it, especially for lack of anything better to do during the pandemic. And then I had to put my cat down like a week beforehand. So I was sitting in this house I just paid off, literally alone, feeling like I should be celebrating, but instead feeling like utter crap. Congrats. That's such a huge accomplishment. Sorry to hear about your cat. I'm sure they were proud of you for working so hard. When I asked out my crush, "So where are you going to take me?" I feel the explosion inside of disbelief and happiness.